Okay, welcome to another episode. Tonight, I just finished watching Backlash 2016. It was a SmackDown exclusive special event pay per view. It was on the network. Last night I gave my predictions, but it's almost becoming redundant to give predictions for wrestling. I mean, anything can happen. The endings get changed so often at the last second, and we'll get to that in a bit. But I didn't go into tonight expecting a lot. I find myself always saying that about pay per views, WWE pay per views, only because our expectations. A lot of fans, they don't manage their expectations, and they're always expecting the greatest pay per view of all time, the greatest matches of all time, and you're not going to get that all the time. It's just unrealistic. And then everybody complains online about everything. But tonight, there was a lot of things I liked about tonight. It had an real old school feel to it. The matches. First of all, I want to say Mauro Ranallo, who's the lead commentator on SmackDown. This guy, he's since his first day in WWE, he has been a breath of fresh air. The way he calls the matches, his voice, he actually holds your attention, the viewer's attention, and he gets you excited about the match. Unlike other commentators who've been boring for the last 10 plus years, Michael Cole. Oh, geez, and really, the announcing has a lot, could really sometimes make or break the action you're watching. I mean, I grew up watching and hearing Gorilla Monsoon, Jesse the Body Ventura, Bobby Heenan, even Vince McMahon when he was doing. He was the lead announcer on most WWE televised broadcasts. I mean, even though he was terrible in some ways, but he put over the action. He was animated, but he does a great job, and he really keeps my interest. But like I said tonight, it was for pay per view standards. It was a short pay per view. It lasted about 2.5 hours from start to finish, and they had a couple of intermissions. But each of the matches were slow paced. They were given time. They weren't rushed, and one thing that's been missing for the last few years is the reliance of the storytelling outside of the ring. They do everything to build and create and try to tell the audience the story outside of the ring before the performers actually go into the ring and do the match. And then the match falls short, or they don't give them time. Well, like, all right, I'll say it again. When I was watching in the '80s and even in the '90s at times, the performers were in the ring and they told the story, and the announcers also added to the story. They told you the story. I'll give away my age here. One of the first matches and memories I have was when the Iron Sheik beat Bob Backlund with the camel clutch. I was a little boy. I had no clue about anything, and all I saw was that the Iron Sheik put Bob Backlund in the camel clutch, and he was hurting him. And Bob Backlund's manager threw in the towel. I think I knew what that meant. At least it was explained over the announcers explained it, and it made me feel sad. It made me hate the Iron Sheik. I knew he was the bad guy, or he was bad. He was a bad man, an aggressive man. But I didn't know anything, and guess what? It hooked me for life. So my point is, less reliance on all the window dressing and all the nonsense. I mean, all you need is sometimes a nice. You could even do a recorded promo backstage, edited promo, and let the performers do their job and tell and show their characters and perform in the ring. With that being said, so let's get on. Let's get started. If you guys, any of you watching for the first time, my channel is fairly new. I started it a few months. This is I do in-depth coverage of pro wrestling, sports, current events. I'll talk about anything that's interesting and something that you know, topics that are really hot. My last video I did last night, I talked about CM Punk's UFC debut. You can check that out. So I hope you guys keep watching. Thank you. So let's get started. Tonight, Backlash was, again, as I mentioned, this brand exclusive for SmackDown. Next month will be Raw's exclusive pay-per-view, Clash of Champions. But this was the first. Backlash is not a new pay-per-view. It used to be an annual pay-per-view. The last one was in 2009. And like I said, tonight I wasn't going in expecting a lot. But the one thing that really impressed me tonight was the in-ring action. And somebody that I've warmed up to lately that I never really liked, and we'll get to him soon. Who I have my respect is growing more and more. But we'll start off first. They had the women's championship match. This is a women's SmackDown championship. Now every brand will get their own championship eventually. So it was Becky Lynch, Carmella, Nikki Bella returning, Natalya, Naomi, and Alexa Bliss. I couldn't care less about this match because now you're going to say, oh, what? You don't like women's wrestling? No, I do. But when they show me that they are serious about the women's division, then I'll get serious about it, okay? Becky Lynch is everybody's flavor of the month right now. I predicted Nikki Bella was going to win, you know, because she came back from neck surgery and she dates a certain somebody. I tell you the truth, I missed this match, but Becky Lynch won. She defeated Carmella via submission. I don't know. I really don't care. Like I said, when WWE gets serious about the women's division, not just for a week or a month, then I'll get serious myself. Excuse me. Ooh, false sneeze there. I hate those, don't you? Feels like your head's gonna explode when you're about to sneeze. But yeah, like I said, when they get serious about the women's division, then I'll get serious about my coverage and interest and investment in the women's wrestling. And they do have a few talented women, female performers. And then everybody's we want to call them the internet darling right now, who everybody you put them in the class of the Cesaros, the Zack Ryders, the perennial losers, who everybody is just waiting for them to get this big push that's never coming. I don't think. You know, and I'm talking about Bray Wyatt. The guy, he never wrestles. All he does is cut promos, scary promos that really lately, I'm going to say, not too scary. And after a while, it's just to me, it seems like he's rambling and rambling because I can't get invested in him. And he was promoted tonight to face Randy Orton, who as we all know, at SummerSlam got his head split open by Brock Lesnar the hard way. The reports are that he wasn't medically cleared to for in-ring action tonight. So they filmed a spot backstage where Bray Wyatt smashed Randy Orton's leg with the door, and he wound up forfeiting the match. Bray Wyatt was in the ring, and Randy Orton never came out. The ref counts to 10. Randy Orton no-showed kayfabe, and Bray Wyatt was awarded the match. But then who comes out? Kane. The demon is back. Oh God, this guy. I mean, Kane hasn't been interesting in about 7 years, and you would think maybe, hey, tonight maybe Bray Wyatt could go over Kane, because Kane, does Kane really need to win this match? Does anybody remember the last big match Kane won that anybody cared about? I can't. But no, it was a pretty good match, for what it was, and they teased you with Bray that Bray was going to go over on Kane, but then all of a sudden, look who I knew this was. I knew this was going to happen. Randy Orton comes limping down the ramp. Bray Wyatt's confused. Oh, he doesn't know, and he helps and he helped Kane win the match. Kane went over, and I mean, this is why I don't I don't understand fans with this who hang on to this Bray Wyatt. He's a jobber. He's a glorified jobber. He loses. That's all he does is loses. And tonight, he got at least it was a protected finish. It was a protected finish. It's a loss. He's got to be protected against Kane, who's in his mid-40s, who's been the Kane character since 1998. Jeez. But unbelievable. I'm glad they broke up the Wyatts. The Wyatts were losers. And if you're going to say, you don't care, you're wrong. Well, go back to WrestleMania. See what happened with the Wyatts. With The Rock and John Cena, what they did to them. And they're losers. They're an absolute joke. And they broke them up. And you know what? They put Braun Strowman on Raw. And he's more over, and he's getting a much more serious push than Bray Wyatt right now. So I'm glad they broke him up, and I don't really care about Bray Wyatt, and I don't care about Cesaro. I'm not going to go banging my head like a mental patient and go and commenting online all day. You guys are nuts. So then we move on. Tonight they were going to crown another champion on SmackDown, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. They had the semifinals. And this is another thing I like. The Usos, I said last night, they apparently turned heel on Tuesday on this Go Home show. They attacked the American Alphas from behind, and they came out tonight. New look. They had black pants, no more colorful island pants, and Simone face paint. They had black pants, white sneakers. They looked hip. It looked fresh, and they needed that. I'm not really a Usos fan. I didn't like their gimmick. Some people do. I didn't like their gimmick. Tonight they came out and they looked like they had more edge. They looked more interesting. This is the first Usos match that I watched from start to finish in a long time, maybe ever. But I knew they were going to go over the hype bros of Zack Ryder and Mojo Riley. Right now, they're a low card act, but I knew they would go over them and go on to face the team of Heath Slater and Rhino. I'm sorry, I escaped me. Then the match what I was getting to, the guy who I have refreshed vigor for. I never, like many people, I never was really a big Miz fan. I've seen him since he was on the reality show The Real World in 2001. I knew who he was. I followed him on Tough Enough. I've been following his career. I just never took him serious. It's his character, because he plays his character really good, and he plays the chicken coward type heel. And you don't take him too serious, even though he wins a lot of championships, and he works big matches and works big angles. He's but lately I did a video on it's on my channel, is The Miz Really Awesome, where I talk about all his accomplishments, and this tonight further gave me new impressions about The Miz. respect the guy. You know, we talked about how you don't take him serious because he's a pretty he could be silky smooth in that ring, and what I mean by that is he's a real good professional wrestler, meaning that he's a good worker. That he doesn't work stiff, but it's believable, and he tells a story. Tonight was he fought Dolph Ziggler, who's a mechanic in the ring himself, you know, but it was a really good match. I was impressed. And now people say it's because of Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler always has good matches. No, go to SummerSlam. His match with Dean Ambrose was very lackluster. So I won't give him complete credit for that. The Miz, it told a story. He told the story of being a heel champion tonight. He dominated at times. He was working as a heel, and it was back and forth. There was a close calls. There was at one point I did think that Ziggler might escape with the championship, but then Maurice, the Miz's wife and valet / manager, she was the extra advantage the Miz needed. She took a foreign substance and sprayed it in Ziggler's eyes, and the Miz took advantage. It was a real good. It was a real good match. If you go back and watch it, it was about 15 minutes, over 15 minutes long, and it was good. Like I said, the Miz looks like he's a good worker when he's given time. You know, he doesn't. You don't have to perform shooting star presses and all these crazy spots. You tell the story in the ring, and it's psychology. And tonight, at least I saw it, and I give thumbs up to the Miz. So this match was pretty much a microcosm of the whole of most of the show. Whereas it was old school, it felt old school in-ring action, and this is what they call main event style wrestling. You wrestle slow, methodically, and you tell the story in the ring. Next, we had the tag team championship match, and I said last night, Heath Slater, he's another guy who's usually really a bum, and he was an afterthought since he came up with the Nexus in 2010, I believe. He was always the goofy redheaded guy. He's been over lately. The fans are getting behind him, but his gimmick has been he got forgot. He wasn't drafted on Raw, SmackDown, and he was clamoring for a contract on either. He would show up on Raw and SmackDown and looking for a contract. They would involve him in these ridiculous scenarios to win a contract, and like having to beat Brock Lesnar. And they teamed them up right on now, and they have good chemistry together. I said it yesterday. They have comedic chemistry, and they also gel well in the ring, and that's supposed for a hot act. And I predicted they would go over, and they did. It was a good match tonight. They defeated the Usos. The Usos, again, as heels, they look pretty. They have it's refreshing. It's refreshing to see them. They will actually work better as heels, not trying to pander to the crowd and do moves and ask the audience for their approval. It was good. Rhino came in. He gored Jimmy Uso, I believe it was. The referee didn't see the action. Then Slater covered him for the 1, 2, 3. They won it, and then you could see Slater was really happy, and you could see if you read lips, he whispered to Rhino. He said, "Thank you, meaning like thank you for coming and teaming up and making the act." And it was a good act right now, and it should be for a while anyway. So next, moving on. And this is, like I said, it was a short pay-per-view, not a whole lot of matches. I believe they might have in the opening match. I think they showed Baron Corbin versus Apollo Crews. I didn't watch. I caught it late, but I'll put a card up. I'll go back and check it, and I'll put a card up, and I'll put the results up. But the main event, the championship match, AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose, and In the last video, I said, since I take it back, I said since Dean Ambrose won the championship, he didn't have that extra oomph, and I take it back. I take it back. He got a good pop tonight, and he fought this. He fought a Dean Ambrose match. I guess, listen. I guess it's what he's allowed to do. Like he said on the Stone Cold podcast, when Stone Cold challenged him to up his game, and he said, I'm trying," but it's only, he has limitations on what he could do, what they let him do. But tonight he fought the Dean. This was a Dean Ambrose style match. It was like you had a street fight rules feel to it, even though it wasn't. That's when Dean is at his best, and when it feels like it's a street rules fight, when he takes it all over the arena and the announce tables, into the fans. And tonight he was going up against AJ Styles. Now the AJ, he's been working as a heel for the last few months. As we know, he beat John Cena twice at SummerSlam clean. He took his headband. That's the gimmick. He took Cena's Never Give Up headband. This looks like it's setting up a storyline angle for down the road when Cena comes back, for Cena to take back his headband and to get back his win, of course. I remember in one of my last videos, I said I don't want to speak too soon about Cena doing the right thing. Like I said, I don't want to speak too soon, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But again, tonight, I was rooting for AJ to win, to walk out of here with the title. I had a apprehension that something screwy was going to happen, because usually WWE, they don't let the title change hands in the first match of the feud. But this was again old school. AJ was working great as a heel, antagonizing Ambrose, antagonizing the fans. They did everything. Spots. We saw the 450 springboard splash from Styles. We saw a drop kick to the ropes from Ambrose. I mean, they were allowed to show their stuff. A lot of times, these guys get watered down, because that's why, and I'll explain to you why the hate is for Cena, for guys like Cena and Reigns, because everybody on the roster, this is a type of booking when you elevate the top guys, which in this case would be Cena or Reigns, and then everybody else, you lower them, so the top guys look better. So everybody else on the roster isn't really allowed to shine and do their thing in the ring in order to make the top guys look better. But tonight, I was impressed. It was almost, you had the feeling of like, I don't care who wins, as long as it's a great match. As long as these two guys gave us a great show, you aren't going to be disappointed with the finish. And Ambrose took a brawl that side. He threw Styles over the announce table over the barrier, and the finish was a heel finish. There was a ref bump, and then AJ Styles took advantage. He kicked AJ in the balls, the groin area for you children, or for those of you who are PC. And then he applied the Styles Clash, and we have a new champion, a new WWE champion, AJ Styles. And now AJ Styles, his gimmick, he wants to be introduced as the face that runs the place. Again, it's building up towards another match with Cena, but I love it. It's actually funny. It's giving AJ Styles, it's making AJ Styles a good heel. He's even corpsing when when they announce it. He's smiling because it's funny. It's funny, and he's got the John Cena headband. I don't know. You could say, oh well, John Cena is putting him over, but actually he's putting that over more. He's giving it a fresh perspective. I mean, who cares about unless you're younger than 8 years old. You don't care about it. John Cena never give up a wristband or a headband. If you do, more power to you. or the face that runs the place. When you hear that, I cringe when I hear that from John. When John Cena says that I'm the face that runs the place, because to me that means he's burying everybody. We know you're the face that runs the place. We know that. You don't have to tell us that. He's a big politician backstage, and he always manages to convince Vince and Triple H and Stephanie for him to go over. But if we have to do the traditional give it a review, I don't know. I don't know what's to give it a number. I'll give it a letter grade. I'll give it a B plus. I'll give it a B plus. This was a B plus. I don't know what it could have been to make it an A. I guess I'll take points off because of Randy Orton being promoted and he didn't wrestle, and Bray Wyatt being screwed out of a finish. The women's match, I don't know, but the B plus. So tomorrow night is Raw. That's now a whole new different ball game. There's no continuation from this pay-per-view to Raw. The continuation from tonight's Backlash will be on Tuesday on SmackDown Live. So I'm going to end it here. Thanks for watching, and I'll make another video as soon as possible. And enjoy your night, the rest of your night, and God bless. Bye.